Hello, welcome back. Now, few minutes ago, we looked at the if statement, also looked at S if, we looked at we look at if S, everything associated with the if statement and the different kind of if statements we can have. Yeah, I pretty much believe you got a thing or two from those tutorials. Now, we look at the while loop, how the while loop works. So the while loop helps us to deal with repetition. So if you have an instance whereby you want to continue something, you want the program to continue running until that condition turns out to be false, then the while loop in this scenario is what you are going to make use of. For instance, now there is, I believe there is a kind of variable in this program I'm using to view the photo that is going to keep checking if I've clicked on this, if I click on close, and immediately I click on close, it's going to automatically close the program. It's going to close my photo viewer. So that is how the while loop works. It continuously checks that this variable that says show this picture is true, and immediately that variable says false, it's going to what? End the program. So let's look at it. The while loop begins and it tests the condition, and if the condition evaluates to be true, it executes the body of the loop, the body of the while loop, and goes back to the beginning again, tests the condition, and if it evaluates to be true, it executes the body again. The reason why it goes back to the beginning of the while loop is due to the fact that in the body of the loop there might be some update of the condition. Yes, it might get to a point that condition might turn out to be false, just as I have stated. If I close this program, it's going, that particular variable that checks if I've closed it is going to turn out to be true, and then the program is going to end. Now, if it tests that that condition is false, the while loop is going to end. It's just as simple as that. So we'll jump right in our IntelliJ and cook some things. So right here, I'm going to remove the whole of this previous tutorial. Yes, I don't really need them. And we'll look at how to use the while loop. Now, for a very simple example, I want to do for the very first example with the while loop, I want to do something simple, something easy to understand. I want to print out the number of the first 10 numbers, and that it would be from 0 to 9. Yes, and to do that, I want to say y, simple as that. Oh, sorry. I say int I is equal to 0 and y I is less than 10. I want you to print out the value of I, and also add a space to just to separate I from the other numbers, and I will remove the ln so that it prints on a single line. And I want to increment the value of I with the simple y++, and that is it. So I'm going to run this program and you see how the y loop works. So we have 0 to 9 printed out on our console, and it's as simple as that. Just check. It checks that this condition evaluates at first. I is equal to 0. It checks, and this condition evaluates to what? To true, because I is less than 10, 0 is less than 10. It prints out this value of I and also increments the value of I. You understand with this I++? That from 0, I becomes 1. It checks again and 1 is less than 10. and that is how it continuously does it till it gets to a point where I is equal to 10, and it checks and sees that I is no longer less than 10 but I is equal to 10 at this instant, and the condition evaluates to false, so the loop got terminated, and the flow of the program is going to continue as normal. So I'm going to print out a simple line here. Yes, I'll move to the next and print out the new value of y just to show you the new value of I mean, and just to show you that if at the end of the day, after it finished executing this value, the new value of I is not equal to 9, but the value of I is equal to 10. So I'll run. So you see that the value of I is equal to 10. This is the last value it checks and sees that okay, now I is no longer less than 10 but equal to 10 itself. And so don't execute what is associated with this block. So that is how the while loop works. I'll be looking at a little example. Now this example is quite similar to what we had previously, where we checked where we checked for the where we check the number if that number is prime. So like I stated, we want to do something cool with the previous program that checks if a given number that is being entered by the user was a prime number, or if that number is a multiple of 2, 3, or 5. Yes, we did it. We checked it out. We are going to be enhancing that program with the use of a while loop. In situations whereby the user wants to check a couple of numbers, you want to like do it in a way that you don't have to always run the program and it only checks for one particular number, but you want to check for multiple values. So the user is going to the program is going to ask the user to impute a new value, and it checks that value and asks the user if the user is willing to impute another value, and depending on the response of the user, either the program is going to close or the program is going to ask the user to impute another value. So that is it. And with the use of a while loop, this can be achieved. So like we've seen before, the while loop also has its own condition. So just watch closely as I code and pay attention. So we need our scanner class for input. So say scanner stdin scanner input. I'm going to say this is equal to new scanner. Yes. I'm going to ask the user for a little credential, which is the name of the user, should be equal to next line. And before that, to get a message exactly before this, to prompt for the user to enter his name. So before this line that requires the user to enter his name on the console, we are going to have this print statement that tells the user exactly what to do. We want to create an instance, a boolean variable that says check number. At first we are going to equate to false. Then we are going to ask the user to choose between two scenarios. And saying SVT hello user, are you willing to check a number st. I'm going to say you have to enter your option. One should be yes, and two should be like no. So if the user option was on yes, it's going to change this check number to true, and if the user number is false, if the user option is no, this false is going to remain. So it's as simple as that. We are looking at how to implement this now. So for that, we are going to ask the user to choose one of the above. By doing saying string user choice is equal to stdin dot next line. I think that will be much more better. And if user choice equals to 1, let us make it should be a string. Say check number is equal to true, s check number is equal to false. So it's as simple as that. Now we are going to look at why check number is equal to true if it is wrong whatsoever is in this loop, and that would be to ask the user to enter a value user should enter any positive value of his choice. And yes, I think I have the whole of the rest, and I just pasted it, and let me clear them and refactor the code. Just want things to be a little bit faster. So instead of 1 to 25, we are doing any positive value. So I'm going to delete the whole of this part. That is, user number is less than 1, input number is out of range. So just delete. And I think this is it. So let me go about the code so you understand. So it's going to check if check number is true. Remember that check number is a Boolean variable, and if check number appears to be true, it's going to execute whatever is associated with the while block. Now, the very first thing that is associated with the while block is the user should impute a number, a positive value at that instance. And when the user imputes that positive value being stored inside the user number variable, and yes, the necessary checks are being done. Now to continue with the loop, at the end of the day, we are going to ask the user again if the user is willing to check, if the user is willing to check another number. And that is where this toLearn also comes into play again. So with that, we are going to copy the whole of this again from the top right here to this point, and Ctrl C for that, and I'll paste it at the bottom. For then, I want to separate this entity return and some checking with just these dashes, and I'll copy the whole of this and move over to the top. Ctrl V, at the bottom and middle. I just want to make things simplify. So checking a new number, just to separate the previous number that was checked from the new number that is going to get checked any moment from then. So let me remove this and yes. So now immediately this if part ends, this block, it's going to print out this line to separate again and ask the user, hello user, are you willing to check a number? Enter your option, 1 for yes, 2 for no, and depending on the user choice, if the user choice is equal to 1, this check number should be true, and if the user's check is equal to false, then check number should be false. If the user check is equal to 2 instead, and that is no, check number should be what? False. So that is it. So I think we are done with the program. Now I'm going to run this program and you see how the while loop really works. Okay, hello, please enter your name and I'll do just that. Are you willing to check a number? Enter your option. So you are supposed to enter just one of these two options. Now if you enter something that is different, I think it's going to be false for our first case scenario, but we'll be looking at how to handle that in the future, not in this video, but we'll be looking at how to handle that in the future. Perhaps if I can include something that says if this number is out of range between 1 and 2, then the program should end. But no, not now. So I want to make sure that I'm imputing a value that is either 1 or 2. So for a start, I'll say 1, and wow. I think this is it. I made a little error. So let me see. If check user choice equal to 1, check number should be true, and if yes, it should be false. My check number is equal to true. Oh, where then did I make the error? Let's see. Let me try a value of 2 first to see where my error is coming from. So I'm going to enter my name. Let me do 2. Okay. I think our while block is not being executed. Sorry, my bad. Now for this, I'm going to change from next line to instead. Just forgot about something. So instead of a string, we're going to be making use of an int variable. We can't use the direct equal to sign for the value of type string. That is where I made the error. For a value of type string, this instead of checking for the value, it checks for the location in memory where this value is located. I will explain more when we get to objects in the future. Yes, I'm going to change to simple one. Instead of next line, we are going to have a next int. I just forgot. My bad. So that is it. So I think the program is going to run perfectly fine this time around. So hello user, enter your name. So I'm going to input my name. Are you willing to check a number? Yes. So checking a new number. Hello Isaiah, enter any positive value of your choice. So I want to check, put a positive value of 7 and the number you entered is a prime number. Hello user, you need to check a number, and yes, one more time. I'm going to input the value of 8 and this value should be a multiple of 2. And yes again, and I will input the value of 9 and it should be a multiple of 3. So that is how the while loop operates. That is how the while loop works. Now immediately I input the value of 2, you'll see that the program is going to end. So that is why we have process finished with exit code 0. So it shows that yes, this is how the while loop works. The while loop is going to continuously evaluate until that condition in the while statement turns out to be false. And immediately that condition turns out to be false, guess what? The program is going to end. Now, for starters, I want to point something out also. Remember that check number is a Boolean value. Is a variable of type Boolean, so it holds a Boolean value. So instead of also saying equal to true, we can do away with this. Yes, just to simplify our code. So all we just have is while check number. So while either check number is true or false. So if check number is true, while true, execute this, and if check number is false, don't execute it. So that is how we can also simplify our code. So instead of saying this, instead of saying check number equal to true, because check number itself is a Boolean variable, you can just do away with that other part and put the Boolean value there, the Boolean variable there. So that is it. And we have come to the end of this while loop, and I believe this example should give you an insight of how to control your program. You see, we've learned the if else part, we've learned else if, and we've also learned the while loop, and we've combined the whole of these three to create a kind of program that is quite a little bit interesting. And before I call it an end, I want to also point something out. We've seen how to use the if else to check for this. We can also as well remove these right here and delete, and the program is still going to run out exactly the way it should be. And there's something I have to point out, and that is for this first scenario. Remember that in the beginning our Boolean variable was given a value of false, but however along the line of the program that value turned out to be true only if the user choice was 1. But if the user choice is 2, then this is going to remain. And as I have stated in the past, because only one line of code is associated with this if block, we don't need with this if statement, we don't need a block to wrap it. Now if we had 2 or 3 more lines, then we should require a block. that should wrap it and say, okay, this block belongs to this if statement. So if the user thread is 1, just evaluate to true, else anything apart from 1 should be false. So with that, we have come to the end of this beautiful example, and I believe you've learned a thing or two from this example. Yes, like I pretty much say it in any of my video at the end. I usually tell you guys to please subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, ping that bell icon, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.